Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Mark here with you again. Hey, I'm working on these emergency brakes on my Ram. The pads are still good, but I was having a hard time adjusting them, so I'm gonna put new springs in them and new adjusters. I started taking the clips off, and I thought I'd go ahead and do a quick video on this thing, and as far as like putting it together and what have you. But as you can see, that's how the adjuster is supposed to be. And then that's how the springs go on the bottom. Now, I started taking this apart before I realized I hadn't done the introduction on the video. But what I'm going to do is replace all the hardware on these things and clean them up a little bit and put this thing back together. I would suggest that while you're doing this, of course, go ahead and clean up your axle tube. If you haven't seen my video on redoing the bearings and the seal, I'd encourage you to watch it. It's all done based strictly on what the factory service manual says. But what you'll find is on this seal area, there's some rust buildup. I just took some brake cleaner and some emery cloth and cleaned it up a little bit so it'd have a good sealing surface. But when you go to put this hub and these bearings back on, you want to be sure and keep this seal area grease free, and the seal that's in the hub, keep it grease free as well. Myself, and according to the factory service manual, to use a little soap and water. I just put a little soap on there and rub it around and slide the hub up on. But anyway, I've got another video on that if you want to watch it. And anyway, I'm going to go ahead and finish taking this apart. Like I said, it's just these little clips. There's a pin here, and I've already taken this one out on this side. But once you get the clips out, it'll pretty well come apart. Okay, with the clips off, it's just a matter of pulling that little pin out and then just pulling these brake shoes off. Getting them out of the adjuster, or getting them off of the emergency brake cable down there. But it's just a matter of taking that little adjuster out, popping the springs loose, the springs just kind of twist in. But since I'm reusing the brake shoes, I'm going to keep them on the sides they belong on. So, okay, I got my brake kit. It's just the hardware, the springs, the adjuster, and the new clips. But there's the part number. This is for a 2015 Ram 3500. I'm sure it'll fit other year models, but no hold me to it. But this is the brand I used. And, you know, you buy your parts wherever you want to. I don't recommend anybody in particular, but I do buy my stuff, a lot of it like this, at Rock Auto, just because the prices are so much better, and I just do it because the prices are better than like O'Reilly or AutoZone or whoever. But yeah, you run this stuff on and off like so. Make sure them threads are clean and easy to turn. Because once you get it back together, this little spot right here is the adjuster slot, and as you can see, I'm working on the driver's side, so you won't have that much room to adjust through this little slot, especially with the leaf springs back there. But yeah, that's your little adjustment slot, and of course this will be in there like so. But yeah, you just want to run your little star nut on it and make sure the threads are good and clean and no binding or whatever. They in the brake kit, they send a little white lithium grease. I'll put some on the threads and then some down inside the little tube that the adjuster goes in. I'll get this all greased up, and I'll even actually grease the outside of that star a little bit so that it rubs on the spring. But anyway, let's start putting this thing back together. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm just greasing up these threads and just using a little bit of that white lithium grease. I put a little bit on the inside and just getting everything greased up good before I start actually putting the shoes on. But I adjust it all the way down, and then I'll adjust it out once I get the shoes on it. But anyway, we'll set this right over here for now. And then we'll get our big spring, and then we'll get it on the shoes. Just be careful with the lithium grease. You don't want it on the surface of your brake shoe. So, but yeah, the spring just kind of rotates in. And locks in like so. And then the fun part is trying to get this under here and get it put on. So let me do that right quick, move this camera around so I can kind of show you. Maybe you'll be able to see, but you'll see how you got the small groove right there. That's where your brake emergency brake is going to go. And then these flat spots right here will actually fit in a flat spot on the bottom here. So, but you'll put it in like so. And then you'll just have to kind of stretch it around and get the other side in. Well, I'm going to have to move this camera and get it out of my way so I can get this done. Well, let me try something different. I can't get it on with the spring on there. Anyway, what I'm going to do is go ahead and put this one shoe on. You got the little mounting pin. And then the new clip comes with a hook. And that makes it really nice. So, yeah, pin just goes through there like so. Now, this little clip, I use a little bit of that lithium grease on the bottom of it. Just on this part here where it's gonna make contact with the metal on the brake shoe. But like I said, you want to get it in that groove and then get it on that pin. And with these clips, they're pretty simple to get on. You just kind of rotate them and they snap right in. And now that shoe is on. And now I'm gonna go ahead and put my other pin in. And my clip, I'm gonna get it greased up. It don't take much grease on these, just enough to make it a little slippery when you're trying to put it together. So. Anyway, I'll just set that there for right now. Maybe I won't knock it off. But now that we've got that one shoe secured, now maybe we can get this other one in. Oh, and it just bees like this sometimes. I know you can't really see nothing with my hands in the way, but I'm trying to get that clip on. And I'm trying to do it in a way that I can show you but it's just a matter of getting that clip on there and rotating it. Yeah. I'm gonna have to move this camera. Okay, now that the clips are on both sides, time to put the adjuster in. And it's not too hard, it's just a matter of spreading the shoes out a little bit to get it in. And then getting the little spring put on. But before I do, I'm gonna put a little grease on the outside of that star nut. I don't know if that's what it's actually called, but that's what I call it. And I ain't putting much, just enough to get the outside of it greasy. And then I'm gonna put a little bit on the spring itself, in or about the area that star nut's gonna ride. But this spring's pretty easy to get in. But there's a little hole for it to hook into right there. And then over here on this side, well, make a liar out of me, didn't it? There. Now we're all back together. So now, whenever I get my bearings put back in my hub, get my hub and rotor back on, it'll just be a matter of reaching in through that little slot and turning that little star nut to adjust. And it does turn, and it does take a little time. They make but as you can see, that's what it does. And that's why I put that little bit of grease on there. You just got to hold a little pressure to it, and it will turn. But I done it so that it would slide on that spring a little better. They make a little tool to measure the inside of your hub and then measure the outside of your shoes. Now you can put it on that way. And for me, I don't have the tool, so I'm not gonna mess with getting one. I'm just gonna do it the old-fashioned way. And I'm gonna put the hub back on, get it all buttoned up, the axle back in it, and then I'll just put my little tool through there and adjust it to where I have just a little bit of drag on the wheel or the hub, and that should be it. I mean, we're good to go now. It don't take, the biggest part of this job is pulling this hub off and cleaning these bearings up and putting a new seal in, repacking the bearings. Yes, these bearings are supposed to be packed in grease. People say they're oil bath, but they are not. They are not an oil bath bearing. They are a ball bearing that needs to be greased. And that's just the way it is. I run this truck commercially, and I'm on my second truck. The first one I had a little over 800,000 miles on, and this one I've got a little over 530,000 on. And the hub bearings and the wheel seals, they do go out. But like everybody else, you know, I sat there and listened to them guys on the keyboards oh, it's an oil bath. You don't need to put no grease. And well, what I did listening to them is on the bottom side of this tube out front. I wore a groove on the very bottom there where that bearing run dry, and wore my axle tubes out. So, fair warning. You can listen to them keyboard warriors and take their advice, but I'm going strictly by the factory service manual when I do these bearings. And the factory service manual says to repack them with a high temperature wheel bearing grease. So that's what I do. And I get 150, 200,000 miles out of them. And I'm on my second set. So, you know, anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it helps you out getting your stuff together or redoing yours, whatever. Mine was out of adjustment, and I couldn't get it to adjust from the backside. It was just too rusted up in here, so that's why I tore it down and put new springs and adjusters in it. But anyway, all right, man, appreciate it. Y'all have a good day. Please hit that like button and subscribe button. Thank you very much. Bye.